In this recording, I just want to very quickly touch on conditional formatting because from my experience teaching this class, some students don't quite get the concept of conditional formatting and how to apply it. So I want to make sure that we get that covered here. This spreadsheet that we're looking at is a result of the absolute versus relative referencing spreadsheet. Cleaned it up a little bit, but if you have yours, you can use it. If not, you'll have to either get a copy of this from me to calculate the totals, but really we're just going to be using the totals. So as long as you can calculate these totals, and that's just a sum, click on that, it's just a sum all the way down. As long as you have that total rule, you'll be in good shape. What I want to know is which one of the weeks throughout this time frame did we meet our goal. And unfortunately with my data and the goal that I set, we never did meet it, because you notice my percent of goals, if I scroll down, they're all less than 100%. We got close a couple times. So what I'm going to do is give everybody a break and say I'm going to change the goal to 3,000. Okay, and so now our goal is 3,000, and now over some of the weeks here we exceeded our goal. Now I could scroll through here and I could see by looking at these which ones are over 100. Right, and that's one way I could find out which weeks did we exceed our goal and very quickly see it. Another way to do that is with conditional formatting. I can conditionally format any cells that I want to. A conditional format means that you format the cell in a certain way, as long as the value in that cell meets a certain condition. And as the data changes, the formatting might change as well. The mistake that most people make or many students make when they're doing conditional formatting is they might sort these and go, oh, you're over 1,000, so they'll format that, and you're over 3,000, so they'll format that, and you're over 3,000, so you'll format that. Another thing you can do is sort these rows, and so I could sort by the running total and then just highlight the top ones. Better way to do it is with conditional formatting. With conditional formatting, what you want to do first, and this is the part that people tend to forget, is highlight all of the cells that you want to apply this formatting to for all of my totals. If it exceeds the goal, format it in a special way. So I'm going to highlight all these cells, and remember from the previous recording, a quick way to do that is select the first one and then hold the shift key down. Don't let go until I tell you. Press the end key on your keyboard, END, and then down arrow. What that does is moves you down to the bottom, the last filled in cell in the spreadsheet. The down arrow says moving down. Give me the last cell down that's filled in. If there's any blank rows in between there, by the way, it stops on the blank rows. All right. I don't want that last one. I'm still holding down the shift key. If I come up arrow, just no end key, just up arrow, it takes one row out of the highlighting. And I've highlighted my column. I didn't want the total. All right, so now for conditional formatting. To do conditional formatting, make sure you're on the Home tab. If you're not, go there, and then choose the Conditional Formatting button, and there's all kinds of choices that you have here. We can highlight cells that match certain rules. We can pick the top and bottom. That's another thing I'll do here before we're done. All right, so here's the Highlight Cells rule. I want to highlight all the cells that are greater than my goal. So I'm going to do greater than. And then instead of the 2,890, I'm not quite sure where that came from. I think it might be the average of all those cells. It's anticipating. Instead, what I'm going to do is scroll my spreadsheet. So I'm going back up to the top and use the scroll bar over here and simply click on cell C2. Notice it's an absolute reference because all of my cells should be referencing C2. If you don't understand absolute referencing, you might want to go back and look at the absolute referencing recording. It's very important. I don't want to mark them as red because that sounds like danger. There's all kinds of predefined formats here. Right, green usually works pretty well. You can create your own custom one. So let's do a custom one. Click on OK. There we go. I'm sorry, no OK. And I don't want to change the font, but I do want to change the font color. I'm going to make it a darkish green. And I want to change the background if it lets me. There's the fill. I want to use kind of a softer yellow. That's beige. Let's do some more colors here. And there's a nice soft yellow, that shade. Click on OK. And finally, under font, I want to make sure it's bold. So anybody who exceeds the goal turns into Packer colors with bold. Right? So there's my Packer colors and gold, and you can format these however the heck you want. I just wanted to show you that you can mix and match those however you need. What's cool about this, by selecting them all in advance though, that if something changes, the formatting changes. Right? This has a conditional format in it. How can you tell, by the way? By looking at the cell, you can't. What you have to do is go back to conditional formatting, choose Manage Rules. And under Manage Rules, it will show you that the cells G5 to G155 have this conditional formatting assigned to it. That's the only way you can go back and check. And by the way, this is also a way you can go back and apply formatting or change these rules. If you don't like the colors, you can edit it here and modify the colors. I think they're fine. I just wanted to show you that was the Conditional Formatting Manager. This is, by the way, how I grade your homework assignments. I go into Manage Rules and see if you have the correct range set for conditional formatting. Okay, so now what happens if I change one of the values? Here we're only about 100 short. What happens if this was a mistake and it's really 499? It obviously recalculates the total, but notice because of the conditional formatting, it also says, oh, wait a minute, you're now above the goal, so you get the fancy formatting. And now we can scroll through our spreadsheet and see all of the cells that are formatted. To remove any conditional formatting, I want to do a different conditional formatting. Highlight all the cells. Probably should have done my Shift N thing again, but this isn't terribly long. To remove those, you go to Conditional Formatting and you clear the rules for the selected cells. You can remove them that way. You can also go to Manage Rules, where we were just a second, and delete them. I'm going to clear the rules from these cells, and now they don't have any rules anymore. They're bold, by the way. This is a technique that the book uses, and you probably learned it in beginning Excel, to somehow format your calculated values different than the data values so that you can tell them apart. I've made mine bold. They use all kinds of different techniques, shading and whatever, for anything that has a formula in it. So that's why they're still bold. Now I want to do another conditional formatting, another very common one. I want to highlight the top and the bottom 3 weeks. Right? So I've selected the first one, Shift, End, down arrow, and then an up arrow so I don't get the last one, and go to Conditional Formatting. And in this case, I'm going to use the top and bottom rules. Now this one often confuses students because it says top 10. I want the top 3. How do I get the top 3? Use the top 10 items. That's just the name of the thing. Okay. Click on top 10 and you change the number. I want the top 3. And I think the top 3 ones are pretty cool, so I'm going to make them green. And click on OK. But I also want the bottom 3 to be highlighted. You can add as many different kinds of conditional formatting to a range of cells as you want. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to once again use the top and bottom rule, and I want the bottom 3 items, and I'll make those red because you need to do some work during those weeks. We're going to analyze those weeks, figure out what's going on. Click on OK. And now I've got 2 kinds of formatting. Here's one of my top 3. Okay, but as I scroll through, I can find the top 3 and see if there's any patterns. And there's the bottom, the red ones. They're all spread out. If they were bunched together, then there might be a 3-week session there or a month session where our sales tend to go down, and maybe something we can analyze. Obviously, another way to do this is to simply sort the data. And we haven't done much sorting. So let's highlight these. And once again, now I'm going to do a Shift and down arrow. But I don't want my totals. And if I now want to sort, I can use the sort button. You'll learn more about this in Unit 3, I think it is, data tables. You can sort. If you drop this list down and do a custom sort, it'll ask you what do you want to sort by, and I want to sort by the total. You drop this down, notice all your column headings are here. That's because I included the column headings in what I selected. When you sort using just normal data like we have here, you have to choose your headings if you want them, and you have to select all the data. You can't just sort by one column. If you sort by one column, it leaves all the rest of them where they are and rearranges these numbers, and that's not what we want. So I want to sort by the total, and you can designate whether it's smallest to largest or largest to smallest. I think I'll work my way the other way. And now the data is sorted. Notice there's my 3 green ones. And if I scroll down to the bottom, obviously those are the bottom three, easy to find. Right, so it's another way to look at the data, but conditional formatting allows you to highlight that data without necessarily resorting it. Now my data sorted by values is no longer sorted by date, and the date here was probably very important. So I can look at it this way for a little while, and then don't forget your undo. Control Z is what I hit on the keyboard. You can also use the undo button, and it put them back again. So that's conditional formatting. Before I forget, there's one other thing. Conditional formatting, the new quick analysis tool that I talked about in the absolute reference versus relative referencing recording, also does some conditional formatting. Right. So here's a conditional format greater than. Here's a conditional format top 10%. Here we can clear it. This is not just conditional formats, this is all formats. So this is part of quick analysis, but what I've discovered is if you click on greater than, it pops up the box. Same thing. And so once again, I could say it has to be greater than that and click on it. Now I only select these cells, so only those cells are affected, but the point here is that if you're doing conditional formatting, the quick analysis tool does include two of the very common ones, greater than and top 10%. Right. But if you wanted to do a bottom, and notice the top 10%, it didn't even ask me, do I want 10%, do I want 5%? If you want top and bottoms, you have to use this button. So quick analysis tool has a little bit of a shortcut in it, but it might not be very, very useful unless you're doing greater than, unless you're doing top 10%. The greater than doesn't allow you to change it to less than. Less than. You can't change it to less than or equal to or any of those kinds of things. So it's there, but it's pretty limiting. I'm going to undo, and well, I think I lost my tops here. Tops and bottoms. No, they're back in the middle again where they belong. Okay. So that's conditional formatting. Remember, the key is to highlight all the cells at once. You can, if you forget or you enter a new row of data, you can copy the formatting from here. Remember, that's the copy the format painter button. When you copy a format, the conditional formatting goes with it. So if you do have to enter new data or somehow you get this cell with its data formatting lost, you don't have to start over. You can copy the formatting from here to there, and it'll work just fine using that fill button. So that's conditional formatting. I hope you can use it effectively. It can highlight data very, very quickly, and the highlighting adjusts as the data adjusts, and that's what's really important.